And now we turn to the world of video games, where Microsoft is now one step closer to finalizing their acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The proposed purchase of the famous video game company put Microsoft under the microscope with U.S. regulators at the Federal Trade Commission. Regulators sought to axe the deal because they said it would hurt competition, but their argument was not enough to convince a federal judge. The judge in question stated that the FTC had not shown a likelihood that it will prevail, and the FTC's request to appeal the decision was promptly declined. This clears the path for the $68.7 billion deal, which would be the biggest acquisition in tech history. Well, joining us now to discuss the case and how this would impact video game enthusiasts is Mr. Stephen Kent, Media Director at the Consumer Choice Center. Mr. Kent, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thank you for having me.
So just for some brief background for our viewers, can you walk us through Microsoft's interest in acquiring Activision Blizzard and why the FTC brought this case forward in the first place?
Yes, so Microsoft's interest in Activision Blizzard is really about the same as Netflix's interest in having shows like Friends and The Office on their platform, or Disney reacquiring some of its IP from other streamers. You want to have popular titles and beloved content so that people offer up their money for your subscription services. So their move to acquire Activision Blizzard is to bring Call of Duty and games like Candy Crush underneath their umbrella, as well as the really talented and top-notch game developers who make those things, so that Microsoft can be more competitive in this new coming age of cloud gaming, mobile gaming, and virtual reality. Now, the FTC brought this case supposedly to protect a competitive environment for consoles in the United States. That's Nintendo, that's the PlayStation, that's the Xbox. But like you said, when they went to federal court and argued their case for 5 days in front of Judge Jackie Corley, they were pretty much shown the door and shown that they did not actually bring forward a consumer interest case, but just sort of an open-ended complaint about corporate mergers altogether, and they lost.
And I guess the big question here would be, would the console gaming market still be competitive after this merger?
Well, Judge Corley certainly thought so. And that's why she denied that request for an injunction. And that's also why the court shot down their request for an appeal. Look, right now, PlayStation has a 70% market share. That's Sony's PlayStation, 70% market share internationally. And video gaming is a global market. Microsoft and their Xbox platform in this situation is actually sort of a market underdog. So them bringing in the most popular game in the world underneath their umbrella, that's really, really good for them. And PlayStation is rightly not super happy about that. But lucky for them, there has long been verbal agreements and also signed agreements on paper for them to continue being able to license Call of Duty. It's in nobody's interest for Call of Duty to become platform specific to the Xbox.
And on that note, what is the current state of competition in the overall video game industry?
I mean, it's very competitive. All these different games and their platforms have very loyal consumers who enjoy their game platforms for different reasons. I personally am an Xbox guy. I don't like using PlayStation. I don't really know why, but PlayStation gamers, they also have very strong feelings about the Xbox. It's just sort of about the experience. And so leave it to gamers to have very strong opinions about what they use. And Call of Duty is a game that's going to appear on all these platforms, regardless of who owns it.
All right, just about a minute and a half here. But in terms of the broader impact of this ruling, how do you see this impacting similar cases in the EU, where Microsoft is trying to appeal against the UK's block of this deal?
I mean, you can expect the regulatory bodies elsewhere in the world to now start to really follow suit. I believe the only holdout at this point is the UK. The EU has also gotten on board. Turkey, Canada is moving along as well in this direction. So this deal is going to go through. Biden's FTC here in the United States under Lena Khan, this is a huge defeat for them. This is their fourth defeat in court trying to stop corporate mergers. And it's really just a big reminder to everybody watching here that if you're going to argue against corporate mergers as having an adverse effect on the consumer experience, you better be able to actually argue that. But a lot of Biden's progressive kind of allies in the agencies right now really just don't want to see companies grow at all. And so this was sort of a effort to extract costs from Microsoft for expanding the size of their company, even though they couldn't prove in court that it was bad for consumers.
Very interesting. Mr. Kent, thank you again for your time today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.